Good morning, friends. I am Katie McQuaige-Lucas, your ministerial intern, and my pronouns are she, her, hers. All Souls is coming up, so I want to take a moment to remind you to send us photos of your loved ones who've died for our service of remembrance. Please send them to Jay White. There's a link in this week's newsletter, and we'll need those by Wednesday evening to put them all together for the service. And now let us enter this holy space, this space that we create together. Let us take a moment of pause, a moment of quiet. Let us join in celebration and in song. Let us pray together. Come, be welcome here, and let us worship together this morning.
In the light of truth, the warmth of community, the fire of commitment, we gather this day. May the flame we now kindle be to us a symbol of the holiness we seek. We are Unitarian, Universalist. We are the church with the open mind, the loving heart, and the helping hands.
Good morning. Welcome to the virtual Unitarian Universalist Church of Reading Sunday service. My name is Charlene Reynolds Santo, and I'm a member of the worship arts team. UUCR is a regional church that is currently virtually serving friends and members from this area and beyond, and where you are welcome to be yourself. If you are watching this service during its initial broadcast at 10 a.m. on October 18th, please join us after the service for fellowship. This is a great way to keep connected and to check in on others in the church community. There is a link to this Zoom meeting found in the weekly UUCR newsletter. Please know that you belong here, maybe just for the next hour, although we hope for longer. You belong here. Reverend Hank, Katie, myself, and all the staff and volunteers at UUCR are so grateful that you have chosen to spend time with us this morning. Please get comfortable, take a deep breath, feel peace, and enjoy today's service.
Our opening hymn is There's a River Flowing in My Soul. I recorded it last week by the banks of the Mystic River, and it was a lot of fun. We're going to sing it again this week. We want to have an opening hymn that people can really kind of get to know and get to sing well as each month goes by. Sing along with There's a River Flowing in My Soul. There's a river flowing in my soul. There's a river flowing in my soul, and it's telling me that I'm somebody. There's a river flowing in my soul. There's a river flowing in my heart. There's a river flowing in my heart, and it's telling me that I'm somebody. There's a river flowing in my heart. There's a river flowing in my mind. There's a river flowing in my mind, and it's telling me that I'm somebody. There's a river flowing in my mind.
Good morning. I'm Sally Lieberman, and my pronouns are she and her. Thank you to our Keeling family for lighting our chalice this morning and for leading our children's affirmation, reminding us what it means to be Unitarian Universalists. You may know that we belong to something called Soul Matters. That is a group of UU churches who share ideas, activities, and music focused on our shared monthly themes. You may also know that this month's theme is deep listening. Through our Soul Matters connection, we have met recording artist Leah Morris, who tells us that she is a child of the universe, a parent, a teacher, and a perpetual student. Leah will offer us music and spiritual practice each month this year. This morning, we will meet Leah and Leah's loved ones during our Time for All Ages, which follows right now.
I'm listening. I am listening. Spirit, speak to me. I'm listening. I am listening. Spirit, speak to me. My hands are wide open, eyes are wide open to see what I may be. I'm listening. I am listening. Spirit, speak to me. Lucy, what does it mean to listen?
To hear.
To hear. What kind of things can you hear?
Outside.
Yeah. What kind of things do you hear outside?
The wind blowing the fields.
The wind blowing the trees. That's nice. Jacob, what do you think it means to listen?
To be aware of your surroundings using your ears.
Yeah. Is there another way of listening? Maybe of listening to each other and listening inside of yourself?
Yeah.
What do you think about?
I was not fun to listen to myself without a telescope.
And what do you hear when you're listening to yourself without a stethoscope?
You can hear yourself breathing, and sometimes you can hear your heartbeat.
Mm-hmm,
Do
that's
you
true.
hear me breathing?
I do hear you breathing. It's quite loud. Is there a way to listen and hear without your ears?
Yeah, with your heart.
And when you listen with your heart, what kind of information do you get?
I think you can listen to other people's emotions and how they feel.
Mm-hmm. Can you listen to yourself that way?
See, I close my ears and I can still listen.
Yeah? What do you hear when you close your ears?
I hear myself talking.
Mm-hmm.
I hear static.
Your static, let me see.
Well, it's mostly thunder.
And I hear myself with my ears closed.
Yeah. You can close your ears and close your eyes. Open your heart and listen and see if you get any guidance, if your heart tells you what it wants to do and what kind of things make it happy. You can listen to yourself that way, and you can listen to other people that way. Listen deeply, and you'll hear even more than what you hear with your ears, yeah? I'm listening. I am listening. Spirit, speak to me. I hear Papa coming. You hear that?
Good morning. I'm Reverend Hank Purse. My pronouns are he, him, and his. Let us start this part of our service by lighting our candle of community. We're lighting it for all of us. Because even though we cannot see each other at this moment, we are all in each other's thoughts, in each other's prayers. We light this candle for all those who are with us watching, those who aren't watching, as well as those who have passed on that great mystery that awaits us all. And also this morning we light our memorial candle on the 1-year anniversary of the death of a child of this congregation, Evelyn West. We light this in her memory. We light this for her family and for her friends. Let us open our hearts in prayer. Thou, sometimes it can be so loud and hard to hear the voices you once knew so well, voices that knew you so well. It is said that silence heals us, but silence also holds us together. So help us to pause while we can, while this sweet space gives us room to listen, to hear the echoes of memories that make us whole, the pain of others that reawaken our hearts, the beauty of wild woods that want us back. We don't just listen for clarity and guidance, we listen to become larger, those voices calling us home. We don't have conversations. We are our conversations. We must remember, friends, who we listen to is who we become. On this fine Sunday morning, we hold in our prayers our good friend Marcia Kent and her husband Scott. Scott, who had a stroke earlier this week, but who has come home for hospice. Let us keep them in our prayers. May our hearts be guided with love. May our minds be guided with truth. May our actions be guided with faith. May our soul be guided with hope. Blessed be, and amen.
Sing me a song of a lass that is gone. Say, could that lass be I? Merry of soul, she sailed on a day over the sea to sky. Give me again
Today's reading is from Hardcore Zen by Brad Warner. I've met people who have fallen head over heels in love with Zazen after only a day or two, maybe even one lecture. Me, I hated Zazen from the start, and still do sometimes. I did it the way people go on diets or give up smoking. It stunk. But I could tell it somehow was good for me. Hating Zazen, on the other hand, is no impediment to coming to the real understanding. In fact, it's a time-proven method. In all my years of Zazen, nothing like what is written in those popular books about achieving enlightenment or even has ever happened to me. I've come to see it useless to talk about enlightenment at all. Sitting Zazen is pain and boredom. That's what it is. It's your head hitting the wall in front of you when you can't fight off sleep any longer. It's your brain full of thoughts so asinine you hate to believe that they're really yours. It's looking at your watch when you thought you have been going for a good solid 20 minutes and finding out that it has only been 3. If that's enlightenment, then maybe I signed up for the wrong course.
Brad Warner is, or at least was, the bad boy of Zen Buddhism some years back. The quote that Charlene read goes on to say, for everyone who first takes up Zazen, Zazen is tedious and awful. Your brain is in a constant motion like there's a hive of angry wasps in your head. There is a moment when you are certain you're going to have to leap up, right up off your cushion and run around the room singing the chorus to Hello, Dolly, just to keep yourself from going utterly bananas. Anybody who doesn't feel that way about it, at least sometimes, is not doing their practice very sincerely. And my favorite quote in this whole piece, this whole big long piece, where he's describing Zen meditation, he says, it's your brain full of thoughts so asinine you hate to believe that they're really yours. Now, I don't know if you have a spiritual practice. Maybe you pray, maybe you meditate, maybe you do some physical activity, you do something else. But while doing that practice, there comes a point where you have to deal with those thoughts. If you don't have a spiritual practice, those asinine ideas, thoughts, and memories will sneak up on you, and they'll appear to you just as you are about to fall asleep. And you will lie there in bed and think about that horrible date that occurred some 30 plus years ago. Or you'll think of half the lyrics, but only half the lyrics to the song played at your wedding. Or you'll think about that unfinished list from last week. Or maybe some anxiety about something that you did today that will somehow cause the end of the world to happen next week. Or maybe that's just me. But we all have these thoughts bouncing around inside of our heads. Maybe they are our anxieties. Maybe they're just random thoughts that have no place else to live. And we all need to find a place and a way to deal with them. It could be a spiritual practice. It could be physical exercise. It could be a breathing exercise. It could be writing and journaling. It could be talking with friends or meeting with your minister or with a therapist. Or maybe you need to stop and give your thoughts some space. We need to learn to listen to our own thoughts. You've undoubtedly heard about the art of listening to others. The whole worship theme this month is deep listening. And this theme has shown up in all of our Sunday sermons, right? I preached about listening for God. And Katie last week gave her great sermon about listening to the voice of those whose voices have been seldom heard or have been silenced. In your chalice circles or your pods, you've talked about listening. I know what I just said. We've talked about listening. But listening is important. Listening builds trusts between people. And according to the Vietnamese Buddhist monk Thich Nhat Hanh, listening can do much more. He says, deep listening is the kind of listening that can help relieve the suffering of another person. You can call it compassionate listening. You listen with only one purpose, to help them to empty their heart. Even if they say things that are full of wrong perceptions, full of bitterness, you can still be capable of continuing to listen to them with compassion. Because you know that what listening is like. When you help a person, when you listen to them, you give that person a chance to suffer less. If you want to help them to correct their perception, you wait for another time. For now, you don't interrupt. You don't argue. If you do, you will lose this chance. You just listen with compassion and help them suffer less. 1 hour like that can bring transformation and healing. Or another way of saying it is that listening is an act of love. When we give another person attention, when we listen, when we hear them, they can be transformed and healed. Now, my question for you this morning is this. Don't you think that you are worthy of transformation and healing as well? Don't you think you should show yourself some love? I think you should. Imagine what it would be like to take the time to listen to yourself, to pause, to listen to that small, still voice within. Parker Palmer says, oh, I'm going to hear about this. Okay. Parker Palmer says, we all have an inner teacher whose guidance is more reliable than anything we can get from a doctrine, ideology, collective belief system, institution, or leader. Yet so often we find it hard to listen to that inner teacher, to hear that wisdom inside, to become aware of the being we are, rather than the narrative the world outside wants us to believe. We are afraid of those thoughts and ideas that creep in as our heads hit the pillow. So instead of examining them, we ignore them. We need to be taking time for ourselves, to listen to ourselves. We are worthy of that listening. We are worthy to spend time with ourselves. At this time, we are feeling isolated. We're feeling like we're spending too much time alone. We don't want to be isolated. We don't want to listen to ourselves. And so we turn on the TV, we turn on the radio, we watch movies, we join Zoom accounts, we talk and we share. But often it's a lot of listening to other people, whether they're actors or politicians. We're listening to a lot of other people. Sometimes we expect our partners and our spouses to do our listening for us. Come listen to me. Come listen to me. I need you to listen to me. God bless all of our partners. If you have one, they are great, but it's not necessarily their job to listen to you all the time. We need to take some of that burden on ourselves. We need to admit that there's another story going on inside our heads that all too often we don't want to hear. But we need to spend time focusing on what that voice within is telling us. Don't expect great revelations all at once. Don't expect that you're going to sit or go for a walk, spend some time by yourself, and that you're not going to find yourself being a mess inside your head. We all are a mess inside our heads. That's okay. That's what it's like being a human. But we have thoughts. And there are thoughts that are important, and there are thoughts that aren't. And until we have a chance to be quiet and quiet down the ones that aren't important, we'll never hear the ones that are. Doug Hammarskjöld said this: the more faithfully you listen to the voice within you, the better you will hear what is sounding outside. Only they who listen can speak. We have a lot to learn from ourselves if we take the time. Now, I've talked plenty about listening already. So let's spend some time, 3 minutes actually, just sitting in silence, listening to ourselves. And so it doesn't seem too weird, we're going to play a nice video for you to look at and meditate on. Peace.
As we continue to find ways to support the community beyond the walls of our virtual church, we continue to give half of the funds collected each week to a nonprofit organization that shares our UU values. This is not because we have more than we need, but because there is so much need. And this is a simple way for each of us to help heal the world. October's Share the Plate recipient is Black Lives Matter. Black Lives Matter is a decentralized political and social movement advocating for nonviolent civil disobedience to protest incidents of police brutality and racially motivated violence against people of color. Black Lives Matter works to reform the lives of all people, including those marginalized by earlier Black liberation movements, LGBTQ, the disabled, undocumented, those with conviction records, women, and many others. Please give generously to our virtual Sunday Share the Plate offering to support both the continuing mission of UUCR and Black Lives Matter. Until recently, each Sunday, we would pass the plate to show our support for this community. At this time, we are encouraging you to make an online offering. One can use their own bank's bill pay feature, or you can use the Give Plus feature on the church's website at uureading.org, connection, donate. Select the weekly offering, Share the Plate fund. Of course, checks can be written and mailed to the church at 239 Woburn Street in Reading, 01867. Please note that your contributions will be split between the weekly offering and the Black Lives Matter movement, unless you specify otherwise. I invite you now to give as generously as you are willing and able. Thank you.
This is the sound of one voice, one spirit, one voice, the sound of one who makes a choice. This is the sound of one voice. This is the sound of one voice.
I am Melissa Martin, your Member Services and Volunteer Coordinator. My pronouns are she and her. In our congregational life this week, we have numerous opportunities for engagement through fellowship, cultural enrichment, pastoral care, and mostly doing what we do best, caring for our church and our fellow congregants. This week, there are several ways for you to care for yourself by nurturing and exploring your own individual spirituality. They include our Caring Conversations with Pastoral Care, which happens tomorrow morning at 11 a.m., or our men's group that meets this Saturday morning. There are also many ways for you to share in caring and building our committed and loving community. Our online Kris Kringle Fair will open virtually on Saturday, November 7th. If you are a crafter with donations to share, please use the Fair Chair email below to arrange your drop-off before the end of the month deadline. Our annual leaf raking happens this Saturday afternoon with a rain date of the next day. Please register in advance for a spot and don't forget your mask and your rake. This week is your last chance to register for our premiere offering of Beyond Ivy Cord, which is scheduled this Saturday evening at 7 p.m. You won't want to miss this. Finally, UUCR members are reminded that our fall congregational member meeting is today at 11:15. Please check your email for the warrant, reports, and Zoom information. No social hour today, but we'll see you again at next Sunday's social hour or any of the staff-led opportunities this week on Tuesday, Wednesday, or Thursday, as well as look for a brand new offering by a ministerial intern, Katie, starting this Friday. Finally, if you were fortunate enough to know UCR member Brent Wilkes and wish to attend his virtual memorial service this Saturday morning, please see your church email for registration details. Thank you for being a vital part of our congregational life.
Please join in singing our closing hymn, number 112, Do You Hear?
Do you hear, oh my friend, in the place where you stand, through the sky, through the land? Do you hear, in the heights on the plain, in the vale on the main, in the sun, in the rain? Do you hear, through the roar, through the rush, through the throng, through the crush? Do you hear in the hush of your soul, hear the cry, fear won't still, hear the heart's call to will, hear a sigh, startling trill, in your soul, from the place where you stand to the outermost strand? Do you hear, oh my friend? Do you hear, all the dreams, all the dares, all the sighs, all the prayers? They are yours, mine and theirs. Do you hear,
Friends, will you join me in repeating the words we say each week? We extinguish this flame, but not the light of truth, the warmth of community, the fire of commitment. These we carry in our hearts. Our benediction comes from the Reverend Mark Bellatini, who wrote, "Let the sky above me unscroll like a scroll, and let me read upon it today's text for my life. You are alive, here and now. Let the wind arrange the naked branches of the maples and aspens and oaks into letters which proclaim this sacred text. Your heart beats now, not tomorrow or yesterday. Love the gift of your life and do no harm." Our worship is over. Our service begins. Go in peace.